Hey guys, MCU Collector here with another figure review. Next up is the Hasbro Marvel Legends series Eternals Wave Gilgamesh Build-A-Figure. Here we have Phastos, portrayed by the actor Tyree Henry. Here he has interchangeable hands. He has a leg for the Gilgamesh Build-A-Figure. We have the Eternals movie logo there. That E up at the top, Build-A-Figure in the corner that says Gilgamesh. Artwork of Phastos there. Same artwork on the back, and his bio reads, "Over the centuries, Phastos has helped nudge humanity forward technologically while always keeping his brilliance hidden in the shadows." So what we know somewhat is all the technological advances that the world has made is somewhat due to Phastos and the things that he has done over the years. How that is going to play out exactly in the movie, I'm kind of excited to see, because what has he done that has helped the world? And now I heard things like the atomic bomb. You know, if he in some way helped to create that, and it was just a weapon of mass destruction. I don't know. So it's going to be interesting how all of that plays out. But here on the wave, we are already on Phastos, so we only have Kingo and Druig to finish off the wave to get to the Gilgamesh Build-A-Figure. So I'm pretty excited. So let's get him out of the box. Okay, so here is the Phastos figure out of the package. And he might actually be my least favorite. I love the colors on him though, actually. The purple with a little bit of the silver. We get this light teal color up here on his upper torso. And then we get actually a lot of black along the back and on the sides, which I did not know about until actually taking the figure out. And I really actually like the way purple and black goes together. And then we also have some gold little accents and stuff in here. So he actually has a lot of paint detail on him. It's just this robe piece that he wears is a very hard rubber plastic that just, it's got like no give to it, so he's really not gonna be able to move around a whole lot. And to be honest, his figure just doesn't look the best how it's done, and that sucks. You know, the costume in the movie may not be so bad, it's just in action figure form. I don't think this type of design really works well for an action figure, because it just, I don't know, something about it just looks, a little off. But let's zoom in and take a closer look at some of the details in the head sculpt and see if it really resembles the actor. I actually think that it does not, and it's not the best that Hasbro has done. Okay, so here's an up-close look at Phastos. I mean, I can kind of see Tyree Henry a little bit in there, but just a little. I just don't think it's all that great. It's not, I guess, terrible, but I don't know, something about it. And then the way it sits on the dumbbell joint, it almost like it's too far forward. Just something weird about it. The figure itself, that just this oversized piece is what kind of is giving the figure a little bit of the bulk. You know, the actor, he's not a skinny guy, right? So in order to kind of show the bulk, you have this big ass piece here, and there's just something about it. It just looks a little funky, and you know, the diaphragm joint's so high up on it. It just looks a little weird in my opinion, but we've got some really cool details in here. So looking at all the sculpted details and the different colors, whereas all the other figures are two colors, right? Cersei, green and silver, Sprite, silver and teal, turquoise, Icarus, blue and gold, Makari, red and silver. Here we have Phastos. He's got a bunch of colors. We got purple, we got black, we got silver, we got gold, we got teal. There's a whole lot going on for him. It just, unfortunately, I just don't think he looks the best. But looking at the detail, I mean, like looking here on the arm, we even get some more of that teal there with a little bit of gold accent and trimming. Some sculpted detail there on the arms. But the chest is what looks crazy. Now, I don't exactly know what any of it means, but we know in the movie that he uses his cosmic energy manipulation to kind of build things, or he can control things. We see him lifting the spaceship thing out from under the ground somehow. So I'm sure this ties into whatever his power is. I just don't really know yet. But it all looks really cool. I really like the way it looks. But the black and purple I really like. The purple is a nice color because it's got like a metallic shine to it. And that is pretty cool. But just, I don't know, overall, not the best. But now let's zoom out for his articulation. Okay, so looking at Phastos' articulation, so the head is on a dumbbell joint, so we get all kinds of crazy pivot and everything going on in there. Full rotation. He can look down somewhat, but then it looks like it just comes super far forward on that neck. He can look up a little bit, not a whole lot. Again, the crazy pivot and everything. The shoulder you can get to go up that much, which is good. One thing that does look a little bit weird is the shoulder ball is really quite large, and then the bicep feels like it's kind of out of place, like it's further out than it should be, and I think it's just the design of how they put the arm together. It's just kind of weird, in my opinion. You get a full rotation in there. We have an upper bicep swivel there. We get a double jointed elbow that is pinless. I forgot to mention that earlier. Pinless design on all these Eternals figures, and they all benefit from it because pins would have been ugly as shit on some of these guys. So double jointed elbows, wrists swivel, and they do hinge. We have a diaphragm joint, so up here at the top, he could pivot to his left that much. It's not a whole lot. He could pivot to his right that much. It's not a whole lot. He can go back a little bit, actually, so that's probably more than a lot of others. But forward is basically like nothing. I mean, it's hardly anything at all, as you can see there. You get a swivel at the diaphragm joint. I'm trying to think if there's a swivel in here. There is not a swivel at the waist, but here's like the other kicker. So this robe piece here, you get the legs to go out that far. You can kind of force it a little bit, but there's no way in hell they're going to stay. Kicking forward, you can go that much, but again, this is like a harder plastic that it just doesn't want to cooperate, and it doesn't want to give at all, so you can't really kick forward a whole lot. You do have an upper thigh cut in there, and there is some nice sculpted details on the leg, as you can see, but it's just all kind of hidden, covered up, and it's hard to really work around. We do have a pinless knee, and I don't even know that I can get that top knee joint bent. I mean, you can't work it at all. Like, so it's, I mean, you can't, there's no point in having a double jointed knee if you can't work the knee at all. But it does have a double joint, and it is pinless, and that looks really good. No calf swivel or anything, but foot hinges all the way down. We get a nice solid hinge up, ankle pivot, peg holes at the bottom of the feet. These feet are a little bit larger for the legs, and I know Icarus was kind of the same way, and people were talking about Icarus having small legs. To be fair, I don't think Icarus legs are small. I think what the problem is because you have this skirt piece here that is a little bit bulkier. It's throwing off the size of the legs and makes it look smaller in comparison to the body. I think the legs were probably fine. It's just that right there is throwing it off because it makes it look bulkier. His feet are big, though. They do not share the same feet, so the feet are, in fact, different. So it doesn't look like they're really sharing any pieces between any of the Eternals figures, surprisingly. I'm not sure if I mentioned this before, but he does have fists. Out of the package, he has the two open, relaxed hands, and then we have a pair of fists for Phastos. And then he does come with the right leg to the Gilgamesh Build-A-Figure, which I will throw off to the side there. So there is Phastos. The design, I think, is interesting. I love the colors, but the figure for me is kind of on the weak end of the Eternals figures, whereas I thought Cersei was going to be my least favorite. I think Phastos might actually be. The cool color details and all of that, it's just not weighing out enough for it to kind of come up in my ranking. Okay, so here are all our Eternals figures so far, and the team is really looking good together. I know that they're not the greatest designs ever. They're pretty functional from an action figure standpoint, aside from Phastos and Cersei really being limited. The designs, I think, are what people really don't like, and I get it. But I like having them in hand. The colors really pop and stand out, which is pretty cool. Can't wait to see in the movie how they look in action in these suits. I think that's going to be one of the big things where people are going to be like, oh, you know what? That does look pretty cool. Maybe I will pick up some of these figures. But I know a lot of you guys are out there just like trash, trash, trash. I'm not going to get them. They're trash. Never going to buy. Trash, trash, trash. And you know what? That's okay. That's your opinion. I actually really like these movie figures. Movie figures are my thing, so I'm excited, of course, for any movie figures, especially MCU, so I'm happy. But let's see Phastos thrown in with Crow. Okay, so the Eternal figures, once they're all together, I know that I'm really going to like it. I can't wait to line them up in the triangle formation that we see like at the end of the trailer. So that'll be exciting to do. But I'm liking the figures so far. I really am. Even though Phastos isn't my favorite and is probably going to be my least, Cersei being pretty limited, overall the figures still have a very a very good aesthetic look. Even Phastos a little bit. The colors really sell me on Phastos. I think the colors really look fantastic. I think it's something that you guys need to see in hand to really get a feel for it. Like if you go to Target, chances are you see them and they're probably peg warming because they got one case of 8, one shipment, and they're like, oh, nobody's buying them, when there might be 4 still on there and they've sold half. Kind of thing. But you know, take a look. You guys might like the designs, especially if you like movie figures. I think that'll be the thing. But seeing these figures in hand, I think definitely makes a big difference. But you guys let me know in the comments below your thoughts on that. Okay, so there is Phastos. Again, the sculpted detail, the paint apps on here are really good. The colors really pop and stand out. From an action figure standpoint, the execution, it's just the costume design of it is really hindering it and definitely hurting the figure. The actor likeness, Brian Tyree Henry, it's not the greatest. There's some resemblance in there, but you know, Hasbro has done better. They've even done better in this wave, so unfortunately it's not the greatest. But you guys let me know down in the comments below your thoughts on it. Did you pick up your tickets to see the Eternals movie? Are you excited? Let me know in the comments below. If you guys like this video, please do me a favor and hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. And as always, thank you for watching.